a new idea. So the second law that Newton had was F equals ma, which is the force necessary to move an object depends upon its mass, and the greater the force and the smaller the mass, the greater the acceleration. So, applied to science of mind, it simply means the greater the resistance to a new idea, the more energy is needed to get it going. If you have a strong belief system in which you are well invested, it takes more energy to move you into a new direction. So what I would ask you in this new year is to examine your belief systems, examine your ideas, because they're subjective and they're yours, and decide whether they're serving you. And if they're really not serving you well, know that you can move in a new direction. The third law states that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Science of mind, clear. What you resist persists. If you push against something, they're going to push back against you. In a positive way, it's known as the law of reciprocity that we teach. As you open yourself to the Spirit opens to you. The amount you push is the amount you get back. The amount you open up is the amount you get back. And then we're introduced to the law of gravitation, of course, that says every particle in the universe pulls every other particle towards it, depending upon the size and how far away each particle is from each other. So, applied to science of mind is simply this. You and I attract into our lives those people, places, and events which are pulled into our awareness and consciousness by the strength of our ideas, and others pull you into their awareness by the strength of your ideas. So, the question is, how do you meet people who think like you do? You just go out and talk. Because people are going to be attracted to the same kind of consciousness, the same kind of awareness. So quantum physics comes around and says this: things are really not caused by each other. Things emerge out of. There's a field of infinite possibility, and out of this field of infinite possibility, waves become particles. So, we begin to learn in the teaching of our science of mind that it's not just what we're thinking, it's not just what we're imagining, but it's this opening up to this infinite possibility of spirit and allowing the emergence of new and wonderful and different things. You see, that's why spiritual mind treatment is so wonderful. We call it spiritual mind treatment. It's so wonderful because we open up to this infinite spirit and we listen for inspiration, and all of a sudden something comes to us that we had no idea about before. Something brand new. So from science and from quantum physics, we learn about the truth of metaphysics. And here it is. Everything is intelligent energy. This entire universe is made up of energy, and this energy opens itself into various particles, concepts, whatever. It's all energy. Second concept, all energy is creative. It's a creative energy. It's a creative universe in which we live. The third idea is energy manifests in our lives as feelings, as thoughts, and as things. And so, animals have feelings and pre-thoughts, but because they're not self-conscious, they don't have the ability to choose what thoughts they want. Therefore, we need to consider and watch our thoughts and our feelings. And that leads to the fourth idea, that thoughts plus feelings equal things. That's a simple formula. It's a simple formula for creation, because a thought without a feeling behind it doesn't have the necessary energy of fuel. And then that leads to the fifth idea, that there are vibratory fields of energy that we live in. You and I are living in a field that we think is a particle reality. But there are fields above us and fields and domains above us, not necessarily above us, but more integrated. And that we can have the ability to open ourselves to new fields and live within them. And the last idea is this, is that we choose through this process of awareness, we choose to consciously move from lower fields to higher fields. That the journey of this soul is a journey in awareness. You and I are here for a reason. The universe was created not just accidentally, but it had to have been created by an all-creator sustainer. Now, there are many theories about how this works, and we don't have time to go into them, that there might be multiple universes and all of those kinds of ideas. But I believe deeply that in all, there is all a purpose. And the purpose for us is to understand our place in it, and then make a conscious decision to help bring harmony and peace to the place we are, which is our planet. And so I thought the only way to conclude this would be to do a little song that I worked out with Richard called The Song of the Universe. Are you ready, Richard? 14 billion years ago, before time and space was here, there was nothing that existed, nothing far or near. From the standpoint of singularity came the Big Bang Pop, and it started out a process. Where would it ever stop? Oh, particles were cooling to make real hydrogen, and fuel and fission from the stars in perfect mix begun. Supernova blowing up and scattering in space, creating all the elements upon which life is based. Oh, on the surface of the earth, after it had cooled, and organic molecules are floating in a pool, it somehow figured out to duplicate its own. The beginning of all life, the seeds of life were sown. Multicellular life gained high complexity, the forerunners of our clear destiny. Cycles and trends, the survival of life, produced new creatures with struggle and strife. Cambrian expansion created the array, created all the phyla we find on Earth today. Oh, fish and reptiles laid their eggs, and mammals chose life birth. Before we knew it, hominids were crowding on the earth. We look back from the start of it, the beginning of it all. Is it worth the battles, the rising and the fall? Oh, you bet it is, but we have responsibility to usher in the joyous life for every family. Catchy, isn't it? Seems like yesterday, when life began and victories rung and hopes along the way. But we made it here, our Earth's so dear, so we must protect this place. It's home to the trees and the fish and the leaves, the entire human race. So we bless our Earth and the ones who brought us here to this place, so we could use our wisdom for the entire human race. And we will not rest, we will not stop, till the truth discover. It's coming near, it's almost here, it's loving one another. 14 billion years ago, the dusting out of stars. Oh, thank you, God, for teaching us this universe is ours. We have seen the unity and the oneness of all life. We have seen an Earth that's free from trouble and strife. So 14 billion years ago, and now is our time to help create a world of peace, a world of love sublime. But it's up to you, it's up to me. Together we can do it by declaring our unity. We will sail through it. 14 years ago, let's do it now. The voice of God speaks to us in how we can do it. But there's one problem. I don't know how to end this song. So what the hell? We're doing well. Singing right along.
Original lyrics by Thompson.
I have to tell you, Richard's absolutely amazing because when we practiced the song, it was an entirely different melody. These guys just picked it up. This is great. Because I forgot the other melody, Richard. Okay, all right. So now is the time for our tithe and offerings. Let's welcome Dr. Gisela.